Jung on the woman inside every man. What if part of you was shaped by the opposite sex, deeply, unconsciously, and unavoidably? What if every man carried within him an inner woman, and every woman carried an inner man? What if your romantic desires, emotional triggers, even your creativity weren't fully your own, but guided by forces within you that you've never seen but always felt? Carl Jung believed exactly that. He called these forces the Anima and the Animus. These weren't metaphors. They weren't literary devices. They were, to Jung, real archetypal patterns living in the depths of the psyche. Psychic figures that shape your relationships, your dreams, and ultimately your path to becoming whole. The Anima and Animus represent one of the most fascinating and controversial aspects of Jung's theory. The idea that inside each of us resides a powerful inner opposite. The Anima is the inner feminine figure within a man. The Animus is the inner masculine figure within a woman. Jung believed these weren't just gendered traits. They were archetypes, primordial images, charged with emotion and meaning, inherited through the collective unconscious and encountered not only in dreams, but also in real life, through projection. He first developed these ideas through personal experience. In his dreams and visions, especially during his deep inner crisis after his break with Freud, Jung encountered a mysterious feminine figure who guided, challenged, and provoked him. He named her Salome, and through her began to understand what he would later call the Anima. But this wasn't just personal. Over time, Jung began to see this figure emerge in the dreams and fantasies of his male patients as well. And likewise, a powerful masculine presence, the Animus, appeared in the inner worlds of his female patients. To understand what Jung meant, think of it this way. As you grow up, you identify with the gender roles presented to you. You're taught what's acceptable for a man or for a woman, what to feel, what not to feel, how to behave, how to love, how to grieve. But parts of you, vital parts, don't fit those roles. Those parts are pushed away, repressed or forgotten. They don't disappear. They go inward. And over time, they form a psychic figure, your Anima or Animus. Let's start with the Anima. In a man's psyche, the Anima often begins as the projection of his ideal woman, his first love, his longing, his deepest emotional pull. This can be beautiful, but it can also be dangerous. A man who has not integrated his Anima is often swept away by her. He falls in love not with the real woman in front of him, but with the image she awakens inside him. He idealizes, romanticizes, places her on a pedestal, and then inevitably is disappointed. Not because she failed, but because she never existed. This is what Jung called projection, when the unconscious Anima is projected onto a woman, turning her into a screen for his inner needs. But the Anima is not just about romance. She governs a man's emotional life, his creativity, his sensitivity, his intuition. If she remains unconscious, she rules from the shadows, making him moody, erratic, overly sentimental, or emotionally dependent. But if she is integrated, if he confronts her, listens to her, understands her, then the Anima becomes a guide, a source of deep emotional truth, a bridge between his conscious self and the unconscious. In mythology, this is often the role of the feminine guide. The muse, the priestess, the goddess, the sorceress. She leads the hero into the underworld, into death and rebirth, not to destroy, but to transform. Now turn to the Animus. In a woman's psyche, the Animus begins not as romantic fantasy, but often as a voice, a set of inner judgments, rules, opinions. Jung noted that many women, especially in traditional societies, internalize the voices of father, teacher, preacher, often authoritative, often critical. The unintegrated Animus can be harsh. He can make a woman doubt herself, suppress her emotions, strive for perfection, or attack others with cold rationality. But like the Anima, the Animus also has a light side. When developed, he becomes a source of strength, clarity, logic, and spiritual direction. In myths and stories, he appears as the noble warrior, the king, the seigneur, the mysterious stranger who challenges the heroine to grow. But again, the danger lies in projection. Just as a man may fall in love with a woman because she carries his anima, a woman may attach herself to a man who seems to reflect her inner animus. She might be drawn to the powerful, the distant, the coldly intelligent, not because of who he is, but because of what he mirrors. And when the illusion breaks, the pain is profound, because it's not just the partner who disappoints, it's the collapse of a long-held inner image. Jung's point wasn't that love is an illusion. It was that love without self-knowledge is unstable. Because so long as we remain unaware of these inner opposites, we are ruled by them. We look outside for what's missing inside. We chase our own reflection in others, hoping to feel complete. But Jung believed that true growth, true individuation, comes not from escaping these inner figures, but from engaging them. He urged us to meet our anima and animus consciously, to see them not as enemies or distractions, but as essential parts of the self. This is not an easy process. It means facing the parts of ourselves we were told not to feel. For men, vulnerability, softness, receptivity. For women, anger, ambition, reason, and independence. It means allowing those traits to speak, not dominate, but not be silenced. And in that dialogue, something shifts. The inner man and inner woman begin to balance. The psyche becomes less polarized, less reactive, more whole. Jung was ahead of his time in this. He saw the psychological need for androgyny, not in a literal or biological sense, but as a symbolic reality, the union of opposites within the individual. He called this the conjunctio, the sacred inner marriage between anima and animus, feminine and masculine, yin and yang. It's a theme found in alchemy, mythology, mysticism, and for Jung, it was the blueprint of the self becoming whole. You can see it in art, in dreams, in religious imagery. The divine couple, the two-in-one, the hermaphrodite, the perfect union. But this isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming your full self. A man who integrates his anima doesn't become feminine. He becomes emotionally intelligent, inwardly attuned, artistically alive. A woman who integrates her animus doesn't become masculine. She becomes assertive, spiritually grounded, intellectually sovereign. Jung's vision was not binary. It was dynamic. He saw every human being as a unique configuration of inner energies, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, light and shadow, seeking balance, not conformity. And perhaps that's the ultimate lesson. We spend so much of our lives chasing someone else, an ideal partner, a perfect lover, the one who will complete us. But maybe, just maybe, the person we're really chasing is inside us. So before asking, who is my soulmate? Ask, have I met my inner other? Because when you do, when you listen, when you integrate, something changes. You stop projecting. You start relating. And love becomes less of a search and more of a reflection. Let me leave you with this. Have you ever loved someone who later felt strangely familiar? Too familiar? Could it be that you weren't meeting them, but a part of yourself? Curious minds never stop. Subscribe to keep exploring.